Today I'm going to be talking about a very serious subject that you probably already know about. A few days ago, a man by the name of George Floyd was murdered by a police officer while he was placed under arrest. The circumstances of his arrest are irrelevant. A man is dead, and this sort of situation disproportionately affects a certain percentage of the population. George Floyd was an African-American man, and there's a long, storied history of African-American men and women being murdered or abused while being placed under arrest. This has resulted in numerous demonstrations, protests, and riots that have occurred across the country and centralized in Minneapolis. And I hate the term I think. The last thing I want to do is to try to inject my opinion into a situation that neither deserves it or needs it. But I think that this is a very human reaction to systemic injustice and racism that has been pervading our country for the past 50, 100, 200 years. This is a problem that is deeply rooted in our government and in our communities and in the systems that are supposed to help our fellow man. And it is a problem that needs to be rooted out at every turn. And it's always been a big point of mine to try to use my platform responsibly, to use my platform to steer people in the direction that I feel is right. In this case, there is very little gray area to debate about. A man is dead as a result of police brutality, and there was no justice in his death. And this happens over and over and over again. And it's very easy to remove yourself from the situation, to think that it is so far removed from your life that it will never affect you. But this affects all of us. This is something that is definitive of who we are as a people, who we will be for the future generations. I've always said that I want to leave the world a better place than I found it. When I'm gone, I want the future generations to be able to enjoy peace and prosperity. I want that. But right now, we need to fight these injustices at every turn, because prejudice and injustice and racism runs very deep, and its roots are very thick. And if you don't cut it out, and if you don't stop it at every turn, it will always come back. And I think that the discontent is a result of that anger, of the deep-seated anger, of continually and repeatedly being ignored. Martin Luther King once said that riots are the language of the unheard, which means that when people are ignored for so long, they only have so many options to express their rage. And if there are problems that continually crop up and lead to these situations where justice is not served, then we need to change the systems that allow that injustice to happen in the first place. And that is a long process that needs continual pressure and constant support and constant vigilance. I hope that we can live in a world where racism and prejudice are in the past, but the realist in me knows that we need to fight it at every turn, and we need to confront it, and we need to challenge it, and we need to defeat it whenever it rises up. In the description, I'm going to leave a link to a charity, an organization called Campaign Zero. They are dedicated to ending police violence in America, or at the very least, ensure that justice is always served when it is due. I will be making a contribution to this charity, and I encourage you to do the same or contribute to many of the other causes that people are linking on social media, on Twitter, on various other sites, or other YouTube videos. There are many ways that you can help, even at the most basic of just letting people know that this is not okay, that we do not stand for this, making your voice heard. You can make a contribution to a charity, or you can spread the message about it and demand change be made from it. We are all in this together, whether we like it or not. We're all part of the same country. We're all part of the same world. And we need to start looking out for each other. Black lives matter. And right now, we need to fight